Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Mark Osage from Acqueon, and he's going to give you an excellent presentation now on contact centers in the Link environment. Thank you. Just put it on wherever you like. Close to the top is best.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
A little higher. That's perfect.
Can you hear me now? Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. As you said, I'm Mark Osage. I'm with Acqueon. We do multi-channel customer contact center on top of Microsoft Link. And today I'm going to do a little bit about the company, a little bit about the product, and then I'm going to go into a live demonstration and launch some calls, maybe do an email, maybe do a chat session, look at some supervisory consoles and dashboards. And I'm going to go ahead and take off here. By the way, I've got some paper notes here. I decided if the WAS can use paper notes, then I can use paper notes, so here they are. All right, a little bit about the company. The company was founded in 2005. It's a global contact center software provider. We have customers in 17 countries around the world, 90 customers. They handle millions of transactions. We've won multiple industry awards. We specialize in multimedia customer contact management software with a real strength in outbound. We do outbound predictive dialing, progressive power dialing. We also do outbound email and SMS. We are a development partner of Microsoft. We're also a development partner of Cisco and Avaya. We have offices around the globe, headquartered in Dallas, Texas. We have some other offices in New Jersey, Colorado, Singapore, and a major office in Chennai, India. And having these multiple locations allows us to do true 24-hour around-the-world service. Here's the logo slide that companies like to put up. These are customers of ours, and you can see that we serve a number of different industries, banking and mortgage, telecommunications, outsourced contact centers. We even do some government work, and that's been a growing sector for us. Do some retail product, consumer products as well. Okay. AIQ, or Acqueon IQ, is a complete customer interaction management solution. It supports voice, email, chat, SMS, as well as social media. We do inbound and outbound voice calls, as well as email. We also do inbound, outbound blending to agents, so the agents can take inbound calls, they can be on outbound calls. To provide context to the agent about the customer, we have a feature we call last contact interaction. And what this is, information about past contacts from that particular customer. So by looking at past contacts, they might see that this customer called in and reported a lost credit card 3 days ago. So they might ask the customer, did you get your new credit card? Is everything okay with that? We also have what we call the universal queue engine. And we all know what an ACD is for telephone calls, an automatic call distributor. This is like ACD on steroids, if you will. It handles inbound voice calls, also handles chats, SMS messages, and emails. So all these different forms of communication come into the single queuing engine with a single set of rules to decide how they're handled, to look at the available agent skills, and to take that contact and deliver it to the best possible agent. We also have a drag and drop tool for creating the scripting for the IVR and the ACD. So it's one easy to use tool that contact center professionals learn to use, and they can use it in multi areas of the company. To provide real-time information about what's going on in this contact center, we have a dashboard for the supervisor to look at. We're going to look at that here in a minute. And we also have this dashboard available on certain mobile devices. So you could be out running an errand and wanting to look in on the contact center, see how things are going. You could pull out your smartphone and get a reading on what's going on in the contact center. We also do quality monitoring and call recording. And we have a neat feature that we call scorecards. So once we've recorded a call, we have tools and ways to go in and find recordings. You can look it up by customer number, date, time, agent. And once you find the recording, you can play that recording, and then you can use this scorecard that's created within the system to ask questions about the success or failings of the agent in handling that particular interaction. So you assign different weights or scores to each question, and at the end of the scorecard, you come up with the overall score for that agent. We also have lots and lots of reports on every one of the different media types I've talked about, as well as the agents. So we have dozens and dozens of reports available. Here's this universal queue engine I talked about, and the important thing here really is that you have one set of rules and tools to figure out how you're going to handle all these different media types. So you don't have disparity in the way you handle email because it's on a different system, has a different set of tools, and somebody else knows how to use those, and they're not in sync with the voice people on the ACD. So one set of tools, one set of rules, and we can assign priorities to the different contact types. Typically, outbound calls get the highest possible priority because that's an answered call, and we want the agent to work on that as soon as it's answered. So, some highlights about the product. As far as user experience goes, we've done some pretty clever things to leverage SMS messaging. And one of those is to allow somebody to send an SMS message to reserve a place in queue. So traditionally, somebody wants to talk to your contact center, they pick up the phone, they dial a number, they get answered, they eventually get routed to an agent. And it's a little bit of a waste of time on their part, and a little bit of a chore. What they can do with Acqueon IQ is they can send an SMS to a designated number, and we will place that number into our queue, our universal queue, and when it reaches the top of the queue, we will automatically outdial that customer. So now the customer got to go about their business doing other things. When an agent was available to call them, it all happened automatically. We can also do click to call from a web page. So if somebody's on the web page browsing around, they decide they want to have a telephone conversation, they can click on a button on the web page, and that will also cause a contact to be generated outbound to that particular person. Now, another area that we help the customer is in this area that we call Clone Me. And this is where we can basically answer the call, tell the person they're in queue, give them the estimated wait time, and then offer them the ability to just hang up, and when their queue position reaches the top of the queue, we'll automatically call them back. So just like sending in an SMS to get a call is, you call in, if you don't want to wait, you just hang up, and our system will recognize that and call you back when it's your turn. We also have that ability for a call that gets unexpectedly interrupted. Say somebody's on a cell phone, they drive through a tunnel, the call gets dropped. Well, we're going to recognize that the call was dropped, and if the agent doesn't, drop the call from their console, then we'll put that call into queue, and hopefully they make it out of the other side of the tunnel, and we'll launch a call and reconnect them to the last agent they spoke with, and continue on with the conversation where it left off. We do, as I mentioned, outbound. It's really one of our core strengths, and we do it with voice, email, and SMS, predictive, with automatic predictive algorithms. You can also set line to agent ratios. We also do power and preview dialing. We also can do what we call message drop campaigns. That's where we take the dialer and the IVR and make them work in tandem to where the dialer calls up people from a predetermined list, and then the IVR can play a message out to that person. Could be some sort of announcement, whatever fits your needs. We also offer user experience as far as the user of our system. Our agents can work remote from home. Supervisors, admin people can work remote from home. We have a report designer that lets you design reports, export them into multiple different media types like an Excel spreadsheet or maybe into another reporting tool. And then as I mentioned, we have the Supervisor Dashboard that allows people on a smartphone to actually look into the contact center and see what's going on. I put this slide in to remind me to mention that we do native UCMA as our connection to the Link platform. And any questions so far? Okay, now I'm going to change gears a little bit here and go into a live product presentation. And what we're looking at here right now is the agent interface. I'm going to generate a call, and it's going to come in, and we'll see that land. You're going to see the Link phone pop up as well. Okay, here's the call. I'm going to join it. Now I'm in call. I have information available to me about the caller. This information over here is configurable, so you can decide based on each campaign type or each group, inbound group type, exactly the information that the agents need to see in order to best handle these calls. Now this scrolling and the kind of sluggish performance is due to the fact that I'm on a Wi-Fi network and it's pretty crowded. So I'm in call, talking to this person. When I'm done, I can come up here, drop the call, and now I disposition this call. I can put in information about the caller, put in their number, I can put in business parameters that I was told to capture on each call type. In this case, it's a lost credit card type call. So I'm going to say it's a Visa, it's gold, and the caller was from Texas. Now, wrap-up codes. We have 2 levels of wrap-up codes available, wrap-up codes and sub-wrap-up codes. You get to create the wrap-up codes that you want to use. And again, these are applicable by campaign group, campaign type. So you can have different sets of dispositions for different types of calling campaigns. This is a card call. And then we have the sub wrap-up code, which works in conjunction with the main wrap-up code, just to further give information on what type of call this was and what the outcome of that call was. Lost card, all done. Call is over. Now let's go ahead and do a outbound call. But before I do that, let me show you a few things that are available to the agent. If I'm an outbound agent, I could be configured to be able to work on a number of different calling campaigns. And I can look at those campaigns over here in this area of the screen and select the one I want to work from. I can also see what my productivity has been for the day. I have this occupancy chart here that shows me what my time has been spent on throughout the day. Have I been in a ready state, not ready? Have I been in after call work too long? Have I been talking the proper amount of time per day? So it kind of lets the agent see that they're performing up to standards of the contact center. Another feature we have is what we call ticker tape. And this is kind of like a wall board on the agent desktop. So the agent can see all the different groups that they're involved with, and they can see how many calls are in queue and the longest call in queue. So rather than having to look up at a wall board, they can just look at here at their ticker tape right there on their machine. We also have a not ready pie chart that shows them what they've been doing when they haven't been in a ready state. Again, this is something that's tracked a lot in contact centers, so agents want to make sure they're working up to code. So we have this capability. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and launch an outbound call. I'm going to get a contact. This is preview mode dialing. So as an agent, I get to look at the contact and then decide whether or not I want to make this call or not, or move on to the next record. I can take my time to look at it, get familiar with the situation, and then when I'm ready to go, I hit this make call button. Scroll on over. It's seizing me for the call. And here in a few seconds, everything goes right. That call's going to come in on my cell phone here. There's a call. Now I'm in call again. I've got all this information about the customer. I've got additional information specific to this outbound calling campaign. We have another feature that allows agents to interact with other agents in the contact center. Basically instant messaging to a group of agents that have been designated for them by the system administrators. So if there's other agents out there available for me to send instant messages to, maybe for help on solving a customer issue, that's available to the agents as well. Now, we also support chat and SMS, and we also support email. Let me show a few things about this email page here. These are emails that have come into my little queue for me, and I have an inbox where I look at those emails. I have sent emails that I've sent before, closed emails, emails I've forwarded, and then emails I've parked. These emails that are parked because I don't want them to break the threshold of the service level for that particular email type. So I'm supposed to answer certain emails in certain time frames. In this example, let's say I'm supposed to answer every email within an hour, but I've read this email, I see that there are some issues with it that I need to do some research on, and I can't get to it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and park that so it won't show up in my supervisor's mailbox. Now, I'm logged on as a supervisor/agent. So as a supervisor, I also get to see these other email types. These are categorized emails, meaning the email came into the system analyzed it, and then categorized that email and sent it off to an agent. Uncategorized are exactly the opposite. The system looked at it, couldn't figure out what to do with it, so it lands in a supervisor's email box for them to look at it and then forward it on to another agent or skill. Then contention is an email type where an agent got an email, they read it, they really didn't know how to handle it, so they mark it as contended, and it goes off into this email box where a supervisor can either deal with it themselves or they can pass it on to another agent in the contact center. As a supervisor, I can look into the service level box and I can see mails that are hitting two thresholds of service level, not meeting the service level. One is warning. So let's say after an hour, the email's not answered, it goes into warning mode. And then after 2 hours, it goes into reallocate mode, which means it'll be pulled from that agent and sent on to another agent. Okay, so that's what I really wanted to show you on the agent console side. Now we want to go over to the supervisor view. And these are all the different capabilities available to me as a supervisor. I can look at non-ACD calls. Those are the emails and chats and SMSs. I can outbound campaigns, ACD calls. But I want to go ahead and look at agents here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the agent. Okay, now we're looking at this one agent that's logged into the system currently. And we can see right now that they've had 2 missed calls yesterday. We can look at the statistics for this agent. And if I had multiple agents, I could open them up and we could look at a whole group of agents. So if I was a supervisor dealing with a group of agents, I could have all of them open and checking them on them at all times. I can look at their productivity, again, what state they're in, what they've been occupied doing. Are they ready for calls as they should be? Are they taking calls? How much they've been busy and how much time they're spending on after call work time. Okay, so that's a kind of a quick look at the supervisor. And now we have another module of the system that's for the administrators. And this is where you set things up like outbound calling campaigns. And you can run historical reports from here. Let's see, in this case, I want to come over here and look at an outbound call campaign. So we have these 3 different campaign groups going right now, and a campaign group is just a group of campaigns. It could be a single campaign. It just gives you more flexibility in how you want to handle your calling campaigns. Outbound dialing can get pretty involved with a number of lists that are going, and managing them can be a task. So by having groups and grouping things together, it can make things easier for the supervisors. But let's go ahead and look at this particular calling campaign. We can see it's called preview. We can see its start date, stop date, start time and end time. We can see that it's a voice campaign. It could be an email campaign, could be an SMS campaign, it can also be a mixed campaign. I can look at the call strategy, how we're going after the different records in this particular calling campaign. I can look at the time zone for the campaign. I can look at different options for the campaign, like campaign chaining. Campaign chaining is a pretty neat concept, and the best example I've come up with is, say you're an insurance company and you're calling out to solicit car insurance customers to move over from their current car insurance company to your company. Maybe they already have your homeowner's insurance. Well, during the process of talking to those people, you're going to run into some people that actually already do have your car insurance, but they're interested in your home insurance. So you can take those people, mark them accordingly, and chain them into the campaign that's calling out to get new homeowner insurance. So you can chain result calls from one campaign into another campaign. We also have the ability to schedule the calling periods on a global level as well as on a daily level. So based on where you're located, what state, there are different rules. We also have a whole set of rules around state calling, area code calling, and zip codes. But in this particular instance, it's day of week calling. So on Sunday, the rules are different. So we want to make calls during a different period of time on Sunday than we would want to do on Monday. Tuesday, whatever the day is, I can make whatever changes to that particular calling schedule that I think might yield better results for the particular campaign I'm administering at this point. Upload campaigns, find out more information about the campaigns, scrub leftover campaigns in the call records in the system, whatever. All available through the admin console. Okay, well, that's really all I planned to show today. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you for attending.